Hello, everybody. My name is Jocelyn Hernandez Montalvo. I am the Student Resource Coordinator here at SFCC. And today with me, I have Chris from the Food Depot, who will be doing a presentation of the Food Depot services and a brief overview on how to get to the YesNM website and apply for SNAP benefits. This video will be recorded and it will be later put on the website for anybody to rewatch or for those who did not have a chance to make it to the presentation today. And with that, I would like to introduce Chris.
Thank you, Jocelyn, for the invitation to address Santa Fe Community College students. I'm honored to be here. The Food Depot is the food bank of northern New Mexico. And so we do serve Santa Fe County, but we also serve 9 northern New Mexican counties. And that goes all the way up to the border with Colorado and east and west to both sides of the state. So I know that that may be of interest to friends or family or even students who are attending Santa Fe College. If anybody's looking for resources south of Santa Fe County, that would fall under the geographical district of the Roadrunner Food Bank. And I'm always happy to put people in contact with Roadrunner Food Bank, or they can find that information online themselves. The Food Depot began as a traditional food bank model. And so what that traditionally meant is collecting or purchasing large amounts of food, which we do both of those, storing it safely, sorting it safely, and distributing it to partner agencies. And we still do about 50% of our operations that way. And we have lots of partner agencies throughout northern New Mexico. Those range from everything from traditional food pantries to boys and girls clubs, to senior centers, to homelessness shelters, to a wide range of programs and resources, school-based pantry programs, after-school resource programs. And so that's one thing that I want to be sure to remember to talk about today, in addition to some of our other food distributions, is that we do have school-based food pantries, and that's an expanding program that we do. And I imagine that there's a number of students at Santa Fe County Community College who also have students in the public school system, and that's something to be aware of. The Food Depot does a lot of stuff. I'm going to be throwing out a lot of information very quickly. If I went into everything in detail, it would take much longer than anybody would want to listen to me talk. So I'm going to hit the highlights, and what I want to emphasize to anybody watching is just get in touch with me or go to our website if you have additional questions. Our resource navigation program at the Food Depot, of which I'm a part of as a social worker, exists to answer questions, find people the best food resources that work for them, and assist with a wide range of other issues or challenges that folks may be facing, whether that's rent, behind on rent or utilities, or connecting people to a wide range of resources, which is very similar to the services that Jocelyn offers at Santa Fe County Community College through resource coordination as well. So support is available for people who are struggling or just have want information or want to learn more about what's out there, because we know statistically that food insecurity, financial hardship can be prevalent in people who are working to go back to school and to in all sectors of society, but for students as well. So support is available. The Food Depot really prides itself on trying to put out high quality food. We try to distribute, and we do distribute, at least 50% of our food in quality proteins and fresh produce. And we do that in a number of ways. And I'm going to use our website. I'm going to introduce you to our website, both as something to show you that's a great resource to know about on an ongoing basis, but also it just makes sort of a natural way to kind of walk through the information that I want to share with you today. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up. And let me just make sure that I'm get this sharing on our screen. And I should be sharing now. If that's not the case, Jocelyn, please let me know. So this is the Food Depot's website. We are www.thefooddepot.org. We have a range of food programs. We try to make those easy to access with very low barriers, minimal paperwork or no paperwork and those sorts of things, and really emphasizing on high quality food in all the different food groups. We do a great deal of direct distribution ourselves now, in addition to distributing through our partner agencies. And then we have a range of other programs such as our after school snack program, after school meal program, and our school-based pantries and others. So I'll get into all of that as we walk through this. So this is lots of information that may interest somebody on our website, but in terms of looking for resources, the place to go is here, to begin here. And you can see that we have our food assistance, our diaper program, and our other assistance. We have that in both English and Spanish, and we do have an English-Spanish bilingual resource navigator here at the Food Depot named Vilma Salinas. There's also going to be a presentation on the Santa Fe Community College website from Vilma in Spanish, if that's of help to somebody that you know who's a monolingual Spanish speaker. And you can also always get in touch with Vilma, and her contact information is under the Spanish language links here as well. I'm going to start here on food assistance. And the biggest kind of thing that that the Food Depot does, I shouldn't say the biggest, the thing that may be of most interest to most people who are watching this recording that the Food Depot does in Santa Fe County is our Thursday drive-through / walk-through food distribution or food pantry. We do that from our location here at 1222 Seiler Road. And we do that every other Thursday from 7 to 9 in the morning. So I want to emphasize that it is every other Thursday, not Thursday. I also want to point out that this is a bit of a scheduling anomaly due to a closure that we have the week of March 31st. So you'll notice that these 2 weeks are back to back. In fact, I've got to make a note to myself to create a little asterisk there so that's easier for people to notice. At this food distribution, it's all car-based or walk-through. We do occasionally assist people who take public transportation or walk if they live nearby. You never need identification or proof of income. There is no sign-up whatsoever. It's all car-based. It's all COVID-safe. All that we ask is that a person has room in the trunk of their car. And this is something that's very helpful for lots of people and lots of households, is it's possible for one person to pick up for 2 households. So if you have a friend, a family member, or a neighbor, or somebody, a fellow student, somebody else who could benefit, it's easy to come for one person and just say, I'm picking up for 2 households. That's all you need to say. You don't need to give your name. You don't need to give somebody else's name, and you'll just go through the distribution line. There can be a bit of a line that forms before 7 a.m., but it goes quickly, and by 7:30, there's usually very little line, if any line at all. We do give out a large amount of high quality food at this distribution, as we try to do in all of our distributions. At this one, it's typically between 40 and 50 pounds per grocery package, and that's going to include non-perishable items like pasta, beans, rice, canned vegetables, canned fruit. There's going to be bread, there's going to be meat, dairy, and other items as well. So it's a lot of high quality food. It's very easy. And one thing I encourage people to think about, if they choose, is that sometimes when I talk to folks, they'll tell me, oh, I'm fine on food, that's no problem, but do you have any gas voucher for my car? Or I'm looking for clothing for my child, or I need money for school books or my school tuition. And I'm always happy to help to try to locate those resources for folks, as is Jocelyn, but some of those resources are harder to find. And I just throw out the idea to folks that, look, if you're buying your groceries exclusively at the grocery store, maybe you can come to one of these things and see if you like it. And I think you will like it. And then your grocery bill is going to go way down. And you can use some of that savings for some of those other things, such as school books or gas for the car or what have you, that may be harder to find, because there are many excellent food distributions in Santa Fe. We're very lucky that way. So Not everybody thinks, oh, I need food assistance or I want a food assistance. But if I'm thinking of my overall family budget for the month, it can really be helpful to save money on food that can be used in other places. In addition to the every other Thursday distribution that we do here, we have distributions of various types throughout northern New Mexico. And so by clicking on this link here, we are going to be doing a website update in the coming months to where this will be a little bit more user-friendly. But if you click on this document here, and let me just make sure that this is sharing appropriately. It looks to be sharing appropriately. If that's not the case, Jocelyn, please let me know. This is our public food distributions document. And this is going to give a range of options, both in Santa Fe County, but also throughout the service area that I already described. So you can see that it's alphabetized and it starts with Colfax County and works its way through other places. If you have questions about anything on this list, you can always get in touch with me and I can answer questions. But for the purposes of this conversation, since it's Santa Fe Community College, I'm going to focus on Santa Fe County. Two things I want to point out are some outstanding partner agencies that we have here in Santa Fe. One is the Bag in Hand Food Pantry that happens at St. John's United Methodist Church up on Old Pecos Trail. And that happens every Tuesday from 12 to 1:30. They do have a brief one-time sign-up process, but then that's only a one-time thing. And they give out food similar to ours. They get a lot of their food from the Food Depot. That's why we call them a partner agency. And again, it's a car-based distribution, and that's every Tuesday. And another one I want to point out, and that's not to say that these other ones aren't good resources. They are, but I'm not going to take a lot of time going through them one by one. I'm going to emphasize the two largest. So one of the largest is Bag in Hand, and the other is Bienvenidos up on 5th Street. Again, they have a very brief one-time sign-up process. They're fully English, Spanish bilingual. They're open Mondays through Thursdays from 8 to 1 p.m. And they do a twice monthly grocery box, and they do a fantastic job. They get a lot of their food from the Food Depot, but they also work extensively with local farmers, and they really have a passion for sourcing fresh produce from local sources. They can also do some customization of grocery boxes or food boxes if people have special dietary needs. For example, if someone is a vegetarian or someone needs to avoid gluten, Bienvenidos can sometimes work with those dietary needs and not put together maybe a perfect grocery box, but can tailor it to those needs. It's always worth a call and ask them about that. Unfortunately, that kind of tailoring that I described is something that we here at the Food Depot at our Thursday distribution aspire to and would like to get to that point in one day. And we know that need is real, but it's not something that we're able to do right now. You can see other partner agencies listed here. And then we get down to our Foodmobile listings. And it says Foodmobile pantries in Santa Fe County, Foodmobiles in Santa Fe County. That looks like that's a little bit of a organizational flaw in the document right now. I think these all fit under the same category. And whether it says Foodmobile or MFP, the experience is going to be similar. So we have a big bright blue bus that we call the Foodmobile, and we take that to various locations throughout Santa Fe County and soon to be throughout northern New Mexico with a second Foodmobile. And it's similar to the Thursday concept that I described, but we come to neighborhoods, we come to large apartment complexes, and you can see the schedule for all of that down here. Again, with the Foodmobile locations, there is no sign up required. It is possible for one person to pick up for two households. It's going to be very, very similar to what I described for the Thursday distribution. Although at some of these locations, many of them, in fact, what the person will do is park their vehicle and then come and get a shopping cart and go through the grocery line, so to speak, which is set up outside, or go to the bus itself, which has a distribution window, depending on how we set up a particular one. I do want to briefly point out that some of these listings are listed as non-commodities, and some of these are listed as commodities. What that means, if something is listed as a commodities program, is that it's paid for by the USDA, US Department of Agriculture, TFAP program or commodities program. And that means we have to follow certain USDA regulations, essentially. And that means that if it's listed as a commodity, we are going to ask for name, address, number of people in the household, and income level. There doesn't need to be any identification. You don't need to give proof of income. It's just self-report. But those questions are going to be asked. We don't do anything that would not value somebody's privacy with those questions. We just add up all those numbers and create reports for the USDA and as we're required to do. If it says not commodities, that means it's run like the Thursday distribution that I already described, where we don't ask for any information and none of that is required. So this isn't a lot. It's a few questions and it takes half a minute, and you don't have to bring any paperwork or anything. But it is part of the process. And then this is where there's nothing, and some people are more comfortable with nothing. So I do like to point that out. So again, I got to that document by going to this second thing and clicking on here, and it opened up a PDF document. We're going to hopefully have that set up so it doesn't have to be a PDF in the future. Well, we will have that set up so it doesn't have to be a PDF in the future. This is the same information that is already listed on this as far as the food mobile. So this is going to be the same as what you see in this document, but it's just an easier place to see it. And we also have, these are all linked to this. So this would open up Google Maps if I clicked on this. And as it says, this is the food that's handed out. It's possible to pick up for another household. And any site listed here is open to anyone, and that's important to point out. Some of these sites you'll see we put at schools, others may be at a specific apartment complex. But if it's listed here, that means that it's open to the public. You do not have to be a student or a parent at that school to go to this food mobile. You do not have to be a resident at this apartment complex to come to this food mobile. Anything listed on this page is open to the public. It's not on our website right now. That's something that we're currently in the process of doing, but I do want to take this moment to briefly mention our school-based pantry program and our after-school meal program. So in approximately 14 locations currently in Santa Fe, I believe we have pantries in schools. That may be at an elementary school or a high school or a middle school. It's oftentimes, there's an on-site pantry coordinator, and that is a food pantry that is accessible to students and parents of students who are at that school. It's a little bit of a problem right now. We don't have a list of those schools on this website, but I would encourage anyone who has a child in the Santa Fe public school system to get in touch with me, and I can tell them whether there's a school-based pantry at their child's location and give you the name of that site coordinator. And the same is true of our after-school meal program. These are a little bit different than a lot of what we do in other places. These are prepared meals, and they are served at several schools as the school day ends, and also a number of boys and girls clubs as well. So if you have an interest in learning more about the after school meal program and where that may be available, including at boys and girls clubs, if it's not available at your child's school, if you have a child, that's another thing to get in touch with me about, and I can easily answer those questions for you. I'll just pause for a moment and point out that when I say get in touch with me, my contact information is at the bottom of each of these pages. This is my direct cell phone number, and this is my direct email address. On the Spanish language pages, this is going to be the information for Vilma, who, as I mentioned, is fluent in Spanish, if that's of help to friends or family that you know as well. At the Food Depot, we really want to share food resources with people and make sure that people know about where we're giving out distributions. But we also want to help them connect to a wide range of services and supports, similar to what the Resource Coordination Department at Santa Fe Community College does. And so two things that we really focus on strongly and we want to make sure that everybody knows about is SNAP is one, and WIC for parents is another. SNAP used to be known as food stamps. And I'm going to come back to the topic of SNAP in a minute. For now, I'm just going to point out that if you're interested in SNAP, if you want assistance applying for SNAP, that's another thing that you can easily, that I would encourage you to get in touch with me with, and I'm happy to help you do that. If you prefer to simply apply for yourself, that's where this link will take you. And I'm going to give a brief orientation to that website at the end of this presentation. But SNAP currently, works by EBT card. It's very simple to use. And when you're checking out with your groceries, you just use the EBT card like you do a debit card. So it's very simple and private program to use now, as opposed to when it began and it was called food stamps and there were literally booklets and stamps and whatnot that had to be given out. There are also other kinds of assistance that can be applied from SNAP. The same application. One is LIHEAP, what's called the Low Income Housing and Energy Assistance Program. I think that's what it stands for. It can help with a utility bill. There's also application for Medicaid and some others of cash assistance. So if you're struggling financially now or just looking for other sources of support, looking at what programs are available on the Yes New Mexico website, which is where this links, or talking with Jocelyn or myself about that is always a good idea. Women and infants and children, I'm not going to talk about at length because not everybody watching this is going to have a child under 5. But if you do have a child under 5, WIC can be a very helpful program and is well worth knowing about. Meals on Wheels. Maybe not a lot of people watching this video are going to be age 60 and older, but you may have relatives or friends who are in that situation, and that's a program that delivers prepared meals to people's homes. And then, of course, at the bottom of this page is my contact information, as I mentioned, and my email address. Something that not everybody knows, maybe not a lot of people know, is that the Food Depot has a diaper program. So the details of that are here. And the way that the program is set up is that it can give 1 week's worth of diapers once a month. So basically, it's going to help with 25% of a family's diaper needs. We do that at these times from our office at Siler Road. However, I want to point out that as busy students and oftentimes maybe having jobs and family responsibilities, not everybody can come at these times. So it's also possible to come anytime that we're open, which is Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. It doesn't have to be at these times. We ask people who can come at these times to do so because it helps us a lot. We couldn't serve everybody at just random times, but if it's necessary to come at a time other than these, we want you to be able to come by at a time that works for you. We give out sizes newborn through 6, plus wipes, and it's per child per month. So if you or somebody that you know has more than 1 child, then it'd be more than 1 pack of diapers. There is a brief enrollment process required for that. There's no proof of income required or anything like that, but we just want to sign people up. And to get signed up or with questions, you can get in touch with Vilma or myself, although Vilma is our primary coordinator for the diaper program. And the last thing I want to point out from the website is that similar to resource coordination at Santa Fe County College with Jocelyn, the Food Depot has its resource navigation program. So I am a social worker myself. We work with social work interns earning their master's degrees through New Mexico Highlands University here at our program. We have Vilma, who's a bilingual Spanish navigator. And we want to help people with whatever's going on, or even just give them information if we can about things that maybe they're interested in. And so the kinds of things that we will commonly try to assist with are listed on here. COVID, a lot of people have had trouble with rent and utility payments. We help a lot of people apply for the New Mexico Rental Assistance Program, New Mexico Emergency Rental Assistance Program. But anything you see here or anything going on, you're welcome to get in the Food Depot for assistance with or to have questions about. But you're very lucky at Santa Fe Community College as well, because you also have that on-site support with resource coordination and Jocelyn's department. But we do have resource navigation here at the Food Depot. Lastly, before I ask if there's any questions, I just want to come back to SNAP, because SNAP is such a powerful program. It's such a helpful program. So if you can always contact us, but some people prefer to do things themselves. And so if you're one of those folks and you want to do the application yourself, you can click on here, and it's going to bring up is this the one this is SNAP information. Okay. And somewhere on this page is the link to the Yes New Mexico website where you apply for SNAP. This has always confused me. This is actually the link here. But you can also just directly go to their webpage, Yes New Mexico, and this is the site I was talking about before. This is where the state of New Mexico administers a lot of their applications, and you can create an account to apply for SNAP or for LIHEAP or for Medicaid or for TANF, which is called Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. It's a cash assistance program. You'll create an account if it's your first time here. I've already created an account that I sometimes use to poke around or show people things. You can see down here is another list of what you can apply through on this site. You can sign in. And there's all sorts of good information here, but you don't have to read everything if you want, and apply for benefits. And this is really in a pretty straightforward, nice way going to walk you through the application process. The number one thing that I emphasize to folks about this is don't worry about getting everything right. Don't worry about filling everything out if you're confused about something or you don't have that piece of information. Once your benefits eventually get started, they will begin from the day that you submitted your initial application. And the job of the state counselor who calls you back to complete the application and fill out any additional information is to help with anything that's confusing or fix any of the gaps that may have existed in your application. So do your best. Certainly, things will move quickly the more complete and the more correct you can make it. But first and foremost, just fill it out and fill out the parts that you can and get it submitted. That will start the process. You'll generally hear back from the state. Usually they're doing that within days, if not a week or two of getting back to people. That can change, and that does change, depending on the ebb and flow of things. And the process will move forward from there. If you get into this and you get confused about anything or you want additional assistance, again, that's a point where you can just take a pause and get in touch with us at the Food Depot. We'll be happy to help you get this application submitted and on track. Or you may have already be on SNAP and have a recertification that's required every 6 months or every year, depending on certain things, and we can help you with that as well. We do not have special access to the state office that does this program, so it's not like I can type into their computer system and see where things are at, but we try to help with this, and we try to help people with their applications. So I'm going to pause there. That's a lot of information. I want to emphasize that most of what I described is discussed on our website. I want to emphasize that the Food Depot gives out high quality, dignified, nutritious, tasty, enjoyable food from a lot of different places, both ourselves and with partner agencies. I want to emphasize that it's low barrier and easy to access. And I want to emphasize that, sometimes it's maybe helpful thinking about saving some money on the overall monthly family budget by accessing some of these food programs and using some of that money for some other things where programs may be harder to access. And lastly, I want to say, if in doubt, if you have questions, if you just want to say hi, get in touch. That's what I'm here for. That's what our team is here for, is to answer those questions and pick out from all this information what can be most helpful for you and your family.